Hey there gardeners, today I am doing an update on our seed starting and we're going to take a look and I'm going to show you the difference between old seed that I planted and the newer seed that was fresh from this current year. And you'll note it's a big difference. But before we do that, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Hit the like button, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's get on with it. So here are the seeds that I've got today. This isn't everything that we've planted, it's just some that will help illustrate what I want to talk about here with the old seed versus new seed thing. And you can just check that out. Some of it looks really, really healthy, but there are differences. So let's take a look at some of these differences first. Okay, at first glance, that looks extremely healthy. A bunch of nice plants in there. This was fresh seed from this year. This is a brown sugar tomato. Baker Creek is where I got that from. Here's another one that looks really good. San Marzano. Also first year growth, and it has a little passenger on top. Here's another one here from first year seed. This is Golden Jubilee. Beautiful leaves. Those are cotyledon leaves right there, and it's starting to develop their second set of leaves, which are going to be the true leaves, the actual tomato leaves that are going to be growing stuff. Cotyledons are like the solar panels that pop out there to try to gather all the energy for the plant. The first ones that come out. And here's another one, first year seed. Again, this is beefsteak. And then another tomato here called Rosella. Now what's interesting about this one is it's a few years old. This is about 2018 from that seed supply. So we're looking about 5 years really. Now, when I compare that to other tomatoes that might have been around a lot longer, this is my favorite tomato variety, Whittle orange tomatoes. They're a beautiful orange slicing tomato. And these were all planted at the same time, but look at that growth. These are from 2015. So you can check out and just compare two side by side. Let me find that beefsteak again. Here it is. All right, so here's the beefsteak right here, and then here's the Whittle orange. You can see a distinct difference in the vigor of the two plants. These still germinated. They're just a little bit behind, and they haven't grown as nicely as the fresh seed. Just something to keep in mind. And here's another one. These are chocolate cherry tomatoes, also from around 2015 or 16. And you can see very small little plants, but they were still planted at the same time as all these other ones. So you can tell that there's a reduction in the viability, a reduction in the vigor that's produced over that period of time. And cherry tomatoes are one of those that actually should be a really extremely vigorous plant. Now let's switch. This difference is extremely dramatic in the basil. This here is a whole bunch of beautiful cinnamon basil. It's all really nicely germinated. We're going to get a lot of plants out of that little cup right there. But then this is a Genovese basil, which is about the 2015 seed year again. And there's nothing that is germinated at all. I'm going to need to start some fresh seed for Genovese basil to make sure we have it. So check that out, and nothing. Both planted at the same time. So the viability in that older seed is definitely not there. So let's look at a couple others here. Now pepper seeds, they have a long viability to them, but if you look at this one, there are two pepper plants that are starting to grow from the seed in there. Really tiny, it might be really hard for you to see in there. But this is from 2013, but it's very slow growing. And we're getting a little bit in the pepper area, but just not a whole lot. So compare that here to some other things. We've got, let's see, those are the chocolate cherry. I think I already showed you those. Black Krim tomatoes. These are from older seed. They're doing well, but they're just not as vigorous as the other ones. And this is also from older seed. These are my tomatillos from Rio Grande, and they are just now starting to germinate. But tomatillos and peppers tend to take a little bit longer than tomato plants, so I'm not really concerned, or that's not really even that big of a deal. We are just seeing germination on that. Here is an old tomato variety, Paul Robeson, and I've got one coming out of there. And it's little, it's tiny. So let me show you this one here. This is from 2013. These are jalapenos, and these were sown a couple weeks prior to these other ones being sown. You can see that they're looking really good, really healthy. The big difference is that these seeds were stored in a refrigerator. where they're kept cold and the viability lasts a lot longer. So the storage method that you use, whether you use it just in a cool closet somewhere or you actually put it in the refrigerator, is going to change how they do when you actually sow them. And in this case, it definitely proves to me, even though this is just one sample here, that the fridge actually does help preserve the germination rate a lot better. But they did really well. I'll have quite a few jalapenos from that one there. Now, on to just a couple other updates here. Check out this. This is some Greek oregano, fresh sown seed. You just sow it to the top of your container and it will grow all over. It's really teeny tiny seed. So anytime you have really teeny tiny seed, you want to have it sown on the surface. You don't want to have that go and get covered up because it needs the light to germinate. And here's another one. I'm excited about these. This is Summer Jewel Salvia. I've got two of these type of salvias. One is like this. It's kind of a red salvia. Another one is called Serious Blue Salvia, and it's going to be blue. So when you're planting your seeds and you're checking your old seed, you might get something out of it, but also plan ahead as a precaution and make sure you've got something else that's fresh. You don't need all the seed in a seed packet. A lot of times you get 30 seeds in a seed packet. You don't need all those in your garden, especially if you're doing multiple varieties. Unless, of course, you're farming, and that's a different story entirely. You can take your seed packets and split them up with some friends, share what you've got, and you can do quite a lot with just a little. So here's one more tip for you. If you go out to your garden at the end of every season and collect the seed from your strongest growing, your most disease-free plants, the ones that tasted the best and just overall performed the best of all the plants there, you're going to end up with seeds the next year from those that are going to have great vigor and are going to do really well in your garden. And plus you're saving money by saving the seed from your own garden and not having to go out and buy new seed every year. So I highly recommend that you look into some seed saving. So as you can tell, there's a huge difference between your old seed and your new seed when it comes to vigor and germination rates. And when you're planting a new garden, you want to make sure that you've got the most vigorous plants possible and that you get great germination rates. So for your older seed, and if you're somebody like me who hates to throw stuff away, just know it is okay to throw things away sometimes. Some of this older seed does need to go. Some of it's still going to germinate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter out that stuff, plant it with newer things. That way I can kind of hedge my bets and have some newer stuff growing great, even if my old stuff doesn't work out. If you want to increase your viability period, consider storing it in a refrigerator. It doesn't have to be the one over here in the kitchen. It can be just a little dorm fridge stored out in the garage. That would make a great storage unit to keep your seeds in and keep them viable for a much longer period of time, like those 2013 jalapenos that I showed you right here. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I appreciate you watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to follow along for more stuff. And we'll catch you later in the garden.